The show starts in 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go.
Whether you're new to sales or a lifetime veteran, the Blackbelt Sales Podcast will sharpen your sword and guide you to master the art of sales. And now, here's your host, the ninja himself, Gene Slade.
Welcome back, ninjas. Good to see you again for another edition of the Blackbelt Sales Podcast. And again, I've got my main man, Don Johnson, in the booth with me. What's going on this morning, Don?
Hey, Gene. Good morning. It's another incredible day, isn't it?
It's another great day to be alive, man. And especially for us, because we've just come off of our most recent Black Belt Sales Training Mansion event where we had a bunch of people come out here to Florida, had some great meals, had some great training, and some good time afterwards, created some friendships, a lot more people in the mastermind. I think we had 14 new people from that group come into our continuing education, which is phenomenal. And we're hearing nothing but success stories, right?
Man, it is fun when you hear those success stories. And I love the one that says, hey, you know, this stuff works. Or even the sarcastic one that said, hey, this stuff's broken. They bought the whole list when I only thought they would get the mandatory. It was crazy. 10,000 or some odd dollars was that ticket when he thought there's no way they'll even do the mandatory. This stuff's broken. They bought the whole list. We had fun with that, Bobby. I know you're probably listening. Thanks, man. We appreciate the feedback.
And there wasn't even any equipment on that list. It was all Breathe Easy and accessories.
Exactly. Most technicians don't even have a concept that you can have a $10,000 ticket without equipment. Just the mandatories, the items that need to be done, the near future, the ones that really should be done, and really the nice to haves that are just great upgrades could be done. It gets $10,000 pretty quick. And even if it's a halfway success and you get 5,000 out of it, that's more than anyone else in your company will do for the week. And you can do that today on the next ticket, especially with Breathe Easy. And our industry wants to call it indoor air quality. You go on the websites that your company builds, they'll have a little tab that says IAQ. Customers don't know what IAQ means, and they don't really care. You got to give it to them as a benefit. So that's why your indoor air quality package should be a Breathe Easy package, because now they understand what their benefit is. So Breathe Easy clean air package, Breathe Easy clean air package, Breathe Easy air package, Breathe Easy package. Any of those are better than saying our IAQ package, because people will be like, I don't know what that means. And when they're confused, the confused mind says
no.
Or in our industry, they say, let me think about it, which is the equivalent of I don't have the guts to tell you no, but I'm not going to buy anything from you either.
Yeah, whenever a man or woman says they want to think about it, they already thought about it and stopped thinking. Just take that in for a moment, guys. And, Don, I have never received so much gratitude from a residential client as when I have cleaned up their air. You just go selling high efficiency heating and air conditioning products, and you see how many people call you back and actually thank you a week or two later. It's nowhere near the amount of people that will call you up and give you gratitude and share your name with other people when you truly have an impact on their life. So this morning, let's talk about some of the negative side effects of breathing in allergens, breathing in molds, things like that, because that's really where clients start to make a connection that there's something wrong. Don't we get desensitized to living in our houses, right? Is it possible that you could have a house that's creating a health challenge for you or your family in the house? So Don, what are some of the negative side effects of breathing in allergens, molds, things like that? And let's maybe hit them one by one, just in case we need to expand on them.
Well, the biggest one that we always start with is depression, right? Where you're aware that More people who have allergies suffer from depression, and more people who have depression suffer from allergies. It's a very much connected phenomenon in our world. So depression is a huge effect that causes. And again, just from common sense, if you're walking around allergies, feeling terrible, sinuses draining, lack of energy, would that kind of make you feel happy or sad? You'd feel a little bit sad, maybe even go into depression with it. And really, the side effects of all the medication can cause even more depression. And it's sad. The side effects are worse than the condition if we just clean our air up. So depression's a big one.
Don, you're talking about the medications. For about 2 years straight, I was on either Allegra or Claritin or Zyrtec. Now, I don't know if I need to scrub those words from this podcast, but if you really start looking into the negative side effects, I mean, it goes all the way down to dark thoughts of suicide. And the only reason I can share that is because for 2 years, I struggled almost daily. I think it was daily with suicidal thoughts. And I ended up doing some research and finding communities of people that were suffering from the same thing as a result of taking these medications. So wouldn't it be better if we could reduce the stuff that we're breathing in rather than having to live with that stuff and having to take medications and experience all these side effects? So depression is definitely one. Obviously, sneezing, right? How about loss of sleep? You ever been laying on your pillow and this nostril clogs up? You turn over and this one clogs up and you can't breathe. And you're like, maybe if I could just get up and get some food or something like that, get my stomach full, maybe I'd fall asleep. And you go to the fridge and you get a salad, right?
Absolutely.
At 11 o'clock at night?
No, so also, usually looking for M&Ms, unfortunately. That's what I'm looking for first.
I like candy at night too. So it will lead to some weight gain as well and other reductions in health. So, and then there's coughing. What else is there?
Sinus infection, itchy, watery eyes, sore throats.
Well, let's talk about the sinus infections for a second, right? Because you get a sinus infection, then what do you got to do?
Man, it's so convenient because I've got to call and get a doctor's appointment. And then I've got to go to the doctor and wait in the waiting room. And then the experience is so much fun that finally you get to go back into the room and they make you sit in there, and I got to wait in the exam room. And then the nurse comes in, takes a few information and then you wait some more, and you're thinking, man,
there's got to be a more efficient way.
There's got to be something else besides this that would solve this. This has to occur to a lot of people. But then they, take your temperature, just everything. Ask too many darn questions. Then the doctor comes in. He seems to ask all the same ones. As crazy as that kind of happens too. Like, all right, then finally, okay, we figured it out, and they write you this little piece of paper that you can't even read. And now what do I have to do? I got to drive to a different location. And then I've got to, probably even wait there because the prescription hadn't been called in yet. Okay, so I'll wait some more. And then I'll, pay my copay and I forgot I had to pay my copay at the doctor as well. So there's money. It's just a massive inconvenient. Plus, most people lost a day of work to do this. It's not like this took 15 minutes through the McDonald's drive-through and I picked up a cup of coffee, headed back to work. It takes most of your day to get this done. And then they sometimes say, come back in 2 weeks and we'll check you again. Right? Oh my God.
Ain't nobody got time for that.
Yeah. Let's sign up to do this twice. Yeah.
I'm going to recap that in just a second. But guys, if you're watching this live, will you do me a huge favor? Will you just put live down in the comments? And if you're watching it on a replay, will you just put replay in the comments? It'll mean the world to us. And we're gonna bring this all together for you at the end and show you how it works. But this is a little bit more just conversation time about the negative side effects so that you guys can really start to take it in. So Don, you said sinus infections, which means more trips to the doctor, more time waiting in waiting rooms, more time waiting in exam rooms, being poked, being prodded, being told what to do, more time running around for prescriptions, more prescription expense, more time off of work for follow-up visits. That's like 10 negative things that happens when you end up with a sinus infection as a result of breathing this crap in. So then what do we get? What are some of the other negative side effects?
It could cause, a lack of loss of taste. Really, all that sinus drainage falls on your, on your tongue. If you've
Coat
ever
your tongue?
coat your tongue. Have you ever seen people with a white tongue or even a little white crust there?
Yep.
I mean, but all the sinus drainage will coat the tongue. That white tongue very typically means you can't taste. And a lot of times you'll find people with allergies love the spiciest food. They are just doing crazy stuff with food, hot, because their tongue is so coated that they really can't taste normal food. So they go to the next extreme. Some people, and really what's that do for your gut? That's a whole different conversation of how that
started to make me feel bad about myself, dog. I'm you're eating ghost peppers and shit like that.
For entertainment.
But I'm an allergy sufferer, right?
Yeah. So, and where you could even have loss of smell from all these allergies and sinuses.
Earaches, ear infections, ear irritability,
loss of energy, fatigue. That happens quite a bit. If you're not sleeping all night, do you wake up in the morning feeling great about the day? You usually get that. Only real good sleep was that after you hit the snooze button, you got nice sleep, and then it comes back on. That was the 8 to 12 minutes that you only slept last night. That seems to be the case. So
can cause rashes.
People with rashes. I had a client that had a rash, irritated rash for their lifetime, or for a good bit of their adult lifetime, adult onset type stuff. And really, after they moved to a new house, and they thought it might have just something they had to deal with, and it was time for a new system. So we helped them out. I made sure, let's put a Breathe Easy package on this system. We priced it in. They got everything, and like 2 or 3 days later, calling up going, my rash has cleared up. This is crazy. I've had it for years. And then she even called back a little bit later. It was a friend of the family, and the story kind of got back to me that she would notice that if she left her house and was gone 3 or 4 hours, her skin would start itching or tingling a little bit, and that rash would start kind of picking. And then as she got back home, she noticed it would calm back down and go away. It was crazy how just cleaning the air, eliminating the virus, bacteria, the things that float around in the air will affect people's life. But she was amazed by it. And
Don,
that was an awesome story.
That sounds, Don, like an autoimmune disorder.
Yeah, that would, you typically think of rashes, autoimmune disorders, and migraines, headaches that can be caused just by the environment and the stuff that you're breathing in and the environment you're living in. In our industry, we call it that sick building syndrome or something like that. We're not really talking about it happens in office buildings, but we can control it in our homes, right? We can control it in our homes so much better. So you can also have upset stomach and diarrhea.
I have a technician, though, Don, who his facial hair will fall out when he's around molds and things like that. Ooh. And then I have another one who his hand, like one time his hand swell up like 3 times the size that it was supposed to be. Sometimes his lip would swell up like that movie Hitch with Will Smith. Right? So, and then you were just going to the next one, which is upset stomach and diarrhea.
Yeah, upset stomach, diarrhea. And those are a bunch of effects on the human body. And we haven't even got to all the effects that it really does on the air conditioning equipment, which most of the technicians might understand some of those. And that may be all they talk about. But if you talk about those first 17, 20, whatever number that was, 30 maybe, that's so much more emotional. And people connect with that in those little stories. And even if you don't have the story yet, you've got the story of genes, people, technicians with hair falling out, or my client with the rash, you can share those stories as your own, but not necessarily say they're your own, as I know a guy who this is the story, who told me this. And it creates great connection for people. Great. And they'll, out of those lists, they'll typically have one that they go, oh my God, that's me, or that's my son, or that's my mother. There'll be a connection that kind of registers, and it'll kind of start the light bulbs going that you think that might be what's causing my situation. So, and then again, we've got the effects on the equipment. So, Gene?
So I think it's important to make the point, Don, that people spend money for two reasons: to escape pain or to experience pleasure. Here goes my balloons again. I gotta figure. I'm not gonna try to turn that off because it's so fun when it happens. If you're on Spotify or Apple, you couldn't see that a bunch of balloons just floated up on the Zoom. But what the hell was I gonna say? I don't even remember what it was now.
Avoid pain or experience pleasure.
And they'll spend money faster to escape pain than to experience pleasure. So as we're going over these negative side effects with the client, little light bulbs start to pop on. And they start to say, I wonder if what I'm experiencing is as a result of this. It makes them emotional. And that's one of the things that gets the client to come to their own conclusion that something needs to be done. And that is 80%. I'm telling you guys, it's 80% of getting an order with that client. So then, Don, there's other mechanical effects as well. What are some of the other mechanical effects?
Well, dehumidification. When that coil is coated, it's very difficult for that coil to do its job, right? And get the remove the humidity. All of that can lead to rust and corrosion on the coil. Aluminum coils corrode, metal rust. So let's make sure we're not telling people that their aluminum coil is rusting. Yes, it's the metal that's galvanized around the side that will show the rust. But again, if you're talking to an engineer or something like that and you tell them your aluminum is rusting, they kind of go confused. And the confused mind says no. So rust, corrosion, and rust and corrosion will typically cause refrigerant leaks or just deterioration of the coil system breakdowns. When the refrigerant leaks, your system is typically not going to cool properly. You're going to have system breakdowns, mechanical repairs, and sometimes even having to replace your system before you would have had to otherwise. Sometimes leads to no choice but to have to replace your system early.
And then the last one that we typically teach about is that this can actually have sexual side effects. Am I wrong?
Well, it's all the medication, and good to clarify that. It's really that the medications we will take to try to, be able to breathe, open up our sinuses, and do all these things will have sexual side effects. So being clear, mold isn't necessarily causing certain ones, but it's all the medications that we keep piling on and all of their side effects that will have sexual implications and sexual side effects. So yes, it's huge.
Not good.
It's not good. And we differ on this one. Say it's not good one more time. Say it's not good.
It's not good.
And I want to say it's not good.
And you're going, it's not good. I say it's not good.
I'm up and down nodding, it's not good, and you're sideways nodding, shaking, it's not good. It's one of confidence, it's not good. And it really is funny. It's hard to say the word not or no and get your head to say yes. It's not good. It takes actually practice for that. But it's funny. Both are fine. I like as long as you say it's not good. But one of the reasons we want to do it is so that we get the client to come to their own conclusion. And one thing we figure out, one thing that happens that we're understanding that they got their own conclusion is they might ask us, what can we do about this? When you tell people you need a Breathe Easy system versus they ask, what can I do about this? It was their idea. We talk about push people into sales, and we're more pull. We're just kind of walking with them, holding their hand, and they came to this own conclusion that something had to be done. And a part of sales, we'll talk about build the need. You'll hear that a lot. We say it a good bit, but build the need for everything on the list. We'll say that for guys who are through but to build the need is to not talk about your product.
That's right.
It's the need that something has to be done about the problem, not the solution yet. We're not at the solution. We're not talking to them about Breathe Easy and clean air packages and
this is where you're messing up, guys.
Air scrubbers and that kind of stuff. None of that is part of the conversation until they ask, what can I do about this? Or what should we do about this? Or how much is it going to cost to fix this? Those type questions said they came to that conclusion. And again, I give Bobby, he loves to give us funny time about, I don't call up and get prices for pink flamingo pool toys when I don't give a rat's tail about pink flamingo pool toys, right? So once I come to my conclusion that I'm worried about this, I might ask you, what's it going to cost, or what's the solution for this? And the solution is so simple. Guys out there, you're making it too hard and you're giving them too much information.
Yep.
And then too much information turns them into Google maniacs, and then they do nothing. And we're not trying to, I like to put, there's some of the manufacturers out there that just want to say, my product's better than their product. That's their whole presentation. My, air scrubber versus Remy Halo, or this product versus that. We're not competing with each other. We're competing with a client that says, I'm doing nothing. Anything you do is better than nothing. Every product out there is better than leaving this problem in their system. So for us to argue that the one I prefer or the one you prefer, mine's better or yours better, all we're going to end up doing is they'll do neither. And really, if they do nothing, are they better off? They've got to do something if they want to end this problem. So it's not about the product. It's about your service and you monitoring it and coming back and making sure that this is working like it should.
You're doing it wrong if you're selling a product, guys. You're doing it wrong if your client is not coming to you and going, what do we do about this? Or how much is all of this going to cost? Right? And like Don said, don't start talking about microns and efficiency rates of particle capturing and the wavelength of light and ultraviolet lights and ionization. Stop it. They don't need to know anything about that. They don't care. And you'd be amazed at how many $10,000 or $15,000 packages we sell where the client has no idea what's going into the house, only that they have a problem. This will solve it. And other people have solved their problem this way. And then this is how I'm going to feel afterwards. Right. So real quick, guys, if you're getting anything out of this, give me a boom down in the comments or something. Also, if you know somebody that needs to hear this, and we're getting ready to make it even better for you here in just a minute. We're gonna show you kind of how to do this to a certain extent. Put their name down in the comments. Throw a boom down below, or just throw live if you're watching this live replay, if you're watching replay. And you can also let us know where you're checking in from. Mm-hmm. So the whole point here, Don, is to get the client to come to their own conclusion that something needs to be done, right? And we just had a question. Brittany, will you please put that question back up so I can address that real quick? How do you make asking questions not sound awkward or feel awkward for clients? Guys, that's super, super simple. You're used to giving clients information, right? So all you want to do is tack a few words onto the beginning of what information you're going to share with the client. Don, can you give us an example?
Yeah. Did you know is the perfect go-to phrase. Did you know that this stuff can cause you to have a loss of taste? Did you know, were you aware that it can cause you to have a loss of smell? Would you believe that you can have sexual side effects from all this stuff? So you take the items that you were going to talk about already, put these little short phrases in front of them. We gave you a couple. I'd like to say there's 7 of them that we teach in our class. And when's the next class coming up? I think we just got it planned yesterday.
Yeah,
we're going to do another on-site mansion event where we're going to teach for 3 days, role play, and get everybody ready to go.
The next one is going to be Wednesday, May 29th through Sunday, June 2nd. And just to clarify, Wednesday is a travel day for you, and so is Sunday. So you'll show up Wednesday at 6 p.m. for check-in. We'll have a couple cocktails potentially together. We'll have some food. We'll just hang out, get to know one another, socialize with the other people at the mansion. And it's incredible how fast people come together and start making friends at this event. And then we'll be training on Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. And then Sunday, everybody goes home. So Wednesday, May 29th through June 2nd, which is a Sunday. If you want more information about that, DM me or text me. You can text me directly at 239-848-6533. For those of you listening and not watching, it's 239-848-6533. And I'll get you hooked up with one of my people, or I'll call you myself and just let you know what it's all about. All right. So, Don, let's talk about how we put all this together. I'm going to have you like do it in a row, like start to finish, just the establishing a need part. But I'm going to share with them where we learned this. So there's a guy named Ron White, and no, not tater salad, not that Ron White. We're talking about a memory expert, Ron White.
Yeah.
And Don was actually at a convention, and there was a cocktail reception before the party or before the event. And this guy, Ron White, went around the cocktail reception, and best of my recollection, he met like 132 people. And when he went to speak on stage, he said, if I met you in the cocktail reception, please stand up. It was a room of like 2,000 people. So imagine this guy grabs a mic, goes down the stairs into the audience, and one by one gives each and every person their name. Would that not be a superpower to be able to have that happen?
Yes.
Now, we teach you exactly how to do this at the mansion event and when we do on-sites, even in the mastermind. If you can't come to an on-site, we've got a twice a week live coaching. So if you want to talk about that, all you got to do is put mastermind down in the comments or text me at that number that I just gave you. All right. So what was that? Got a little feedback, but that's okay. Not a problem. So this guy gave everybody their name, and there's a way that we do it, and we'll teach you how to do it. But I was personally, when Don and I were going through these negative side effects, I was transporting myself back to the mansion where we were just at, and I was seeing a bunch of different things around the room. We're not going to give away all of our secrets right now. You got to come and get them. But right. Don, let's just go ahead and run through the script as you or I would do it in front of the client. So we're at the air handler. We see some growth inside of the air handler potentially, or it's nasty, a bunch of allergens and shit like that in there. What are we going to say to the client?
You're going to draw them in. You're going to get them there. You're going to want to see this. It's a very good way to get people. I often hear texts go, I want to show you something, or you need to see this. No, you're going to want to see this. We'll make it more about them than it is you. You're going to want to see this. Hey, do you know what that is? And you point to the
looks
black.
Like dirt. Looks like dirt.
And if they,
I'm not
just
sure.
Kind of, well, what do you think grows in a dark, damp place with a food source?
Mold.
Were you aware that in just 1 square inch of that stuff, there can be over 1 million spores? Were you aware that once really we can see it like this, that the spores are all in the air around it and throughout your entire duct system? Did you know that every time you hear your system cut on, it's blowing those spores into your home? And would you believe that when you breathe that air in your home, that spore can enter your lungs and get absorbed into your bloodstream?
Hang on. Do you guys realize that these are questions? Like, we're literally answering the question that was just answered right now. And you're probably not even realizing it because Don is in control of your brain right now because he's asking you questions, engaging your brain. Keep going, Don.
And you kind of round that out with, were you aware that 1 in 4 people have no ability to fight this stuff off once it gets in their bloodstream? And through that whole speech, your company may say, we're not allowed to say mold. I never said the word mold. I'm okay. It is, there is that. Companies can have that bias, whatever they want to do. I never said it. We let them come to their own conclusion. They said it. So, Gene,
The other thing that I want to point out here is that after each one of these questions that Don is asking, he's not necessarily stopping to let me answer them. He's literally just asking questions, going on to the next question in a lot of cases until there's one that really requires my response, because he gets to control what I'm thinking by the use of these questions. Would it be nice to be able to control what your clients are thinking? So now he's going to get into all the negative side effects.
And even if the answer doesn't come out their mouth, it's in their brain. They had to think of the answer, and that's where you're controlling their thoughts. I know that sounds a little manipulative, and it's not meant that way. We're not controlling their thoughts. We're controlling what they're thinking about. And that's what helps them. If they will listen, then us going through this process matters, but it will not help anyone who doesn't listen, right? If the client's just spaced out and not really paying attention, then it's not going to make an effect at all. So we have a little technique that we teach on how to remember those 6 questions to get it started. And then we have 20 other visuals to teach you these 20 negative side effects. So you get it started. I like to call that the intro. And then you say, were you aware it causes depression and sneezing and sleep problems and coughing, sinus infections, and sinus infections are trip to the doctors and doctor expenses and waiting in the waiting room, being poked and prodded, with having to pay copays and going and getting prescriptions and taking days off work to come back for follow-up visits. And you can even get itchy, watery eyes and sore throats from all this stuff. Were you aware that it causes you to have a loss of taste, a loss of smell, ear infections, irritability, loss of energy, fatigue? Were you aware that certain people get rashes, headaches, and autoimmune disorders, and they really never even knew that it was caused by the environment they're living in? Some people live their whole life with upset stomach and diarrhea, not knowing that it's their ductwork and this stuff that could be causing that. Are you aware that you can have dehumidification problems in your home? You know that you're laying in bed at night and you kick the covers on, you kick your foot out, and then you have to kick your covers on, covers off, covers on, covers off, to get that comfort feeling that you need to really sleep.
Fan spinning a million miles a minute.
Yeah, you're trying to stay comfortable, and then it's covers on, covers off, covers on. That is the humidity more than it is the temperature in your house that's causing that uncomfortable feeling. And were you aware that all that extra moisture leads to rust, corrosion? And did you know that really rust and corrosion can cause refrigerant leaks, system breakdowns, costly repairs, and in some cases, maybe even having to replace your system sooner than you would have otherwise? And then for some people, there's even sexual side effects. I mean, would you like to know what our clients have us do when we run across this situation? Now, I'd prefer them to ask, what can we do about this? But if we can't, we can just simply ask, would you like to know what our other clients have us do when we run into situations like this?
So we've got a question down here. Client follow-up question. Robert asks, if the client asks, how does this happen, or a specific side effect, what should our response be? You'd be well served by coming to one of our live events and actually hearing how all of this stuff happens. But what I would share with you right now, if you're not coming to one of the live events, go back through and write down all the negative side effects we were talking about, and then use the Google and say, how does breathing in allergens or molds cause this challenge, right? Or, you could jump into our mastermind and ask us about that. But unfortunately, we can't unpack how each one of those side effects happens today, right? Go ahead, Don.
There's some great information on a website called breatheasyair.com. It's still out there right now. But Breathe Easy Air has some really good information about this process. It's not product specific. It's just information. There will probably be some articles that you could read that would pick up on that website. So that's where I would tell you to go to. If I had to send clients somewhere, that's where I'm going, because it's not really affiliated with any of the manufacturers right now. It's just information.
And for the record, Don did create that website with just a little bit of my help. So he sold the company off, but it still exists. You can still go to Breathe, BreatheEasyAir.com, BreatheEasyAir.com. And that'll give you just a consumer-friendly website.
Exactly.
So all of this stuff gets the client to get concerned about the way that things are right now. They get uncomfortable with the way things are right now. And the whole point of this process is get them to come to their own conclusion that something needs to be done. Because once they say something needs to be done, 80% of the work is done. All you've got to do is let them know there is a solution. And then there are a couple steps afterwards that you really are going to want to get with. We just don't have the ability to talk about them today. So for that, you'll either want to come to our next live event to get like the second half of how to really close this stuff and get the client to thank you for it. So just if you want information on that, all you've got to do is put mansion down in the comments, or you can text me and ask for more information. The text, once again, is 239-848-6533. What were you going to say, Don?
Well, Gene and I are on a Zoom call for an hour Tuesday and Thursday, hour each morning on Tuesday and Thursday, called the Lead Ninja Mastermind class. And you can join that mastermind class and start getting access to all of this information, all of this scripting, all of that information. You can text him and ask, put mastermind in the chat, or text him and ask that information as well. And that would lead into that next class coming up. We really love having everybody come to that class. It's limited to 24, 25 people is the
25
max.
is the maximum that we can take.
And 25 is a nice size group. You can get interaction with two of us there. Typically I'm taking, half the group and we're doing role play, and Gene's taking the other half and doing role play. So you get a lot more interaction one-on-one rather than a huge auditorium type of class. And it's all really the implementation is so important to me. It's about the role play. So we're sitting there, you're reading it, you're hearing it, and then you're having to say it back to me, and then we're working through it and getting you to the point where it's usable in that weekend. Not just I learn it and now I hope I go back and put it in place. No, you have something that you can use on that first call when you get back. Most guys tell us they're just chomping at the bit to go back and run a call with all this information that they've learned in those 3 days. So
this past event was like that. The one guy's like, man, I cannot wait to get home and run a call. And then another person's like, yeah, me too. I was thinking that. Yeah, me too. I was thinking that. Guys, it's an unbelievable experience. And to piggyback on what you were saying, Don, we used to just do this for 2 days. It was just the class. But recently, about 6-8 months ago, Don was like, we really need an implementation day after this class so that we can really work with the guys on not just the words, but their tone and their inflection and how to deliver it. So without charging you any more, we added 50% more time to the class. So now we're there for 3 days, and it's this one's a 16,000 square foot mansion in the Orlando, Florida area. It is surrounded by 3 World Championship golf courses if you're a golfer and you want to stay an extra day or come in a day early. But it's a very, very beautiful, beautiful house. We take care of you. Once you get there, you don't need food. You're going to sleep there at the mansion. You can either sleep in one of the bunks or you can get your own king suite. Those typically go pretty quick. So if you want us to help you train your team, and you want to do something over at the mansion in the end of May, you want to reach out to us sooner rather than later. All right. And then look, maybe you can't afford to have your guys leave. If you want us to train them on Tuesdays and Thursdays on what we've been talking about here and a lot more, then you're going to want to reach out to us about the mastermind. So you can text me, or you can just put mastermind down in the comments. Don, any parting words before we end this? And by the way, guys, stay tuned, because at the end of this, I'm going to show you a quick video on that live event that you'll be able to see the space that we're talking about. Any last words, Don?
Yeah, and I think you just booked that date yesterday. So this is some of the first information to get out. So make sure to get your name on the list to make sure you get a spot. I wanted to say that what you've heard so far on the Breathe Easy presentation is probably half. There's about that much more that you want to add to it. And again, we show that at the mansion. Your little teaser here. What you've got will get you a lot of interest and get moving, and then we show you how to show the solution and paint the picture of their new life, and it makes a major difference in their life. So,
and several guys last year doubled their sales, Don, from the 2 to 2.5 million range to the 4 to 5 million range, and it happened in 30 days or less.
Right, I got on pace for doing that, which was amazing. I think you said this in our mastermind classes that if you're an equipment sales guy and you think I'd like to start adding this to your sales, yeah, you can get $3,000 to $6,000 to $10,000 more. But there's an epiphany and a difference that happens when you realize quit selling equipment and sell Breathe Easy indoor air quality packages, and the systems just come with them. The situation you told earlier is you sell all the benefits of cleaning up the air and being to sleep better and comfortable at night, not having to do the covers on and off. And by the way, that comes with this furnace, or this comes with this air conditioning system that, by the way, will give you the lowest of low power bills. Crazy how if you get into a quoting situation and everybody else is quoting systems, and you are quoting Breathe Easy packages that just happen to include systems, you are unique. You're different. Be the salesman of solutions, not of equipment, or not of just Sears and variable speed. That's where you get into price wars, when you're just selling the same thing as everybody else. We've got tactics to help you, but be a Breathe Easy salesman that happens to include new equipment, upgraded equipment.
It's funny that you talk about that, Don. Quick story for all of you. In my very first 2 years of sales, I was competing in a market where my father was also a salesman for another company, and their pricing was 15 to 20% lower than mine. And I was doing some things like load calculations back at the time that helped me to beat my dad out of these jobs, even for 15 to 20% higher. Well, he figured out I was doing load calculations, so I had to have something else because he started doing them. And I ended up finding some technology that could show you how to test the air, specifically a laser particle counter. And I developed a presentation around selling Breathe Easy packages, specifically HEPA filtration, electronic air cleaners, UV lights, and stuff like that. And with that presentation, clients were buying the air quality stuff from me and just getting a furnace to go along with it. And nobody that could come out and talk to them was as qualified as me to do those things. They didn't even know what products it was that I was putting in to help the clients. Massive, massive lesson there. I went from my father telling people, why would you want the student when you can have the master? I taught the kid everything he knows and taking jobs from me, to his company getting whooped up so bad by me that they hired me to come in with a nice bonus to teach them and work for them on what I was doing, teach them what I was doing. So guys, you want to separate yourself? This is one massive way to do it.
Yeah. I had that said against me one time, or way back, is we taught him everything he knows. And I said, no, they taught me everything they knew. There's a difference in those two statements, right? Oh, why would you want him? We taught him everything he knew. No, they taught me everything they knew. And then there's more. So it's a big difference on how you can turn that around.
You said that to me about somebody else about 6 years ago, Don, and it was the first time I'd ever heard it. I'm sure that you remember that. Do you remember that?
No, I'm not sure.
Around the time you and I ended up becoming friends and doing business together, there was another trainer in the space that was telling everybody that he had taught me everything that I know. And I told you that, and you went, no, that's not the case. He taught you everything he knows. And it really, really made me feel better at the time. I've never forgot it. And I don't think we've ever talked about it since.
Yeah, that's pretty. I can remember it occurring, and again, it's a big difference there. Well, we've been on here about 45 minutes. We're here a couple of times a week when the schedule allows and the world allows us to get here. If you want more information on Breathe Easy and selling indoor air, put it in the comments. Text Gene. Get to the Mansion event. You really get a lot of time with Gene, a lot of time with me, where we get this stuff where you're saying it, not just listening to it. One part of the brain hears. There's another part of the brain we use to actually speak words. So it takes practicing. It takes saying this stuff before it becomes you. And then that technique that Ron White taught us, not tater salad, but it's Brain Athlete is his website or his Facebook. Look for Brain Athlete. You can take his course, and it'll teach you this stuff, or you can come to the Mansion and we'll customize it for what we do. He'll teach you how to do it. I've developed it into the items for Breathe Easy or for the scripting or for various water filtration products. We've got the water filtration. If you're a plumber and you want to sell more water filtration, we've got the visuals for that as well. So it's
electricians
in their
roofers.
panels. Yeah.
Pest control people, solar people we've had come. So it's not specific to HVAC, guys. If you're in a skilled trade, if you're in the service industry, Lead Ninja can help.
Yep. Tag someone, comment, help us out. If you listen to this live or replay, we appreciate that.
Yeah, will you do that for us, guys? Will you share this with somebody, or will you share it on your social platform that you're listening to right now? Man, that would make a huge difference for us. It would be a nice little thank you to us for coming to you and delivering this kind of information, giving you world-class sales training experiences.
I had 2 people at this last event say that things that we were talking about, they went out and used and made money with. Appreciate them acknowledging this, that there was just valuable information. And every one of these are very sales tactics, things that we talk about, not just theory and not just strategies, but stuff you can actually go say and make money with today.
Guys, if you're listening to us on Spotify or Apple Podcasts or something like that, man, it would mean the world to us if after this you would go over and leave us a 5-star review if you like the show. But between now and next time, guys, go out there, slay some dragons, tune into our next episode so that we can help you more. Don, I'm going to roll this video for them so that they can see what the Mansion experience kind of looks like. But do you have anything else to say before I do that? No,
thank you, sir. Appreciate your time. See you again soon.
Thanks for being with me here today, Don. I always appreciate you. You're a hell of a coach and a massive asset and contribution for my family and this business. So thank you so much for what you do.
Thank you. It's a pleasure. It's my pleasure.
Let's roll that beautiful bean footage, Brittany. Here's a little bit of insight as to what happens at the Mansion event. Just so you know, the dates on it have not been changed yet, so the dates at the end will be incorrect, but the right dates are May 29th through June 2nd. The 29th and the 2nd are travel days. Check this out.
I'm Jonah Gorlitz. I'm from Louisville, Kentucky. I've been doing HVAC for about 1.5, 2 years now, and I work for Instant Air out of Shepherdsville, Kentucky.
Hi, I'm Kim Kay. I work with Leads Nearby, and I've been working with Leads Nearby for over 8 years, and we work with HVAC, electrical, and plumbing contractors.
So my name is Chris Laurentino from Comfort Specialists. We're out of Morris County, New Jersey. I've been in the industry about 17 years now. I joined the mastermind because it's not just a sales course. Actually, it's not really a sales course at all.
So the reason that I joined the mastermind is I've seen some people's results online that
This is different from other events that I've been to. I've been to various contest events for quite a few years now.
It's really taught me how to understand and communicate to the customer well. It's actually my second mansion trip.
from the community of how well some people have done, and I really wanted to be a part of that.
This one is the best space. It's the most glamorous space. And it's basically one training that builds upon each other.
Share in that success, and it felt that the best way to achieve that was to actually get here and get involved in the training. And frankly, in my mind, there's no better way to train than in person.
Since I've been in the class since December, my income has improved, my revenue for the company has improved, my customer relations have improved, and my call volume has decreased while the profits and everything else has increased.
Being here is a unique experience that you can't replicate in just a Zoom class. There's so much more that you get out of this.
I mean, other events I've been to, it's a lot of information on a lot of topics, where this is very concentrated. I feel like it allows you to have more focus.
Hey, thanks for joining us today for this edition of the Black Belt Sales Podcast. Again, please share this with somebody who needs to hear or see this information. We're about impacting lives over here. Money's great, y'all, but there's nothing like being a contribution to another person and seeing the ripple effect that that has for generations. Text me at 239-848-6533. I got your back, and I'll help you. Till next time, Lead Ninjas. See you later.